Well, that's third place sorted out. This is what it's all about, though. This for first place, it's Tanya Yankton of Denmark in the black and yellow shirt against Toya Ellison in the red and black shirt. It's time for end number 1. So we start with the Big 10 ring. And so far, we've seen all the archers getting perfect scores. That's a great start from Toya Ellison, though. Well, perhaps even better from Tanya Jensen. How important are the first arrows of these shoot downs?
Yeah, well, to make it to these shoot downs, these medal matches effectively, you really can't miss the middle. These women here have missed 1 point over the 90 arrows, but when you go in the mentality with you cannot miss. This first end of the shoot down, you know what it takes to get here. You've proven that you can do it, and it's really getting your eye in for end number 2, which is where we've seen the points dropped, and that switch to end number 2. The furthest we've seen a shoot down go so far at this event is the third end. See if these girls can extend it a little bit further.
Well, 10s all round for Ellison. Happy news in the Ellison house in recent times as well.
New parents are Toya and Brady. The man came into being at the end of last year, and also just recently Toya became an American citizen, a US citizen. Wouldn't be a surprise to see her move over to the US team in the coming months and join what's becoming somewhat of a star-studded compound women's squad since Linda Ochoa Anderson went over from Mexico. Got Paige Pierce, got Alexis Ruiz. It's not going to be an easy team to make.
Yeah. Well, a wealth of talent in America already, and you then add Ellison to that. Both archers shooting perfect 30s in end 1, so we will move on to end number 2, and of course we move on to the smaller 10 ring as Ellison just making some adjustments to the back of a target to make it a little clearer for shooting.
It's
so
just
all
putting
square.
The arrow down the back to bring some of the paper shards back into line.
Absolutely. We want as clean the targets as possible to shoot at as we go into end number 2. Well, as soon as the small 10 comes into play, that's the effect it has. So advantage Tanya Jensen.
Commanding first shot, inside out X. And Toya's trailing in this one early.
That's Jensen's target with the first arrow tickling the spider. What can she do with her second? Well, that looks like it's in the 10 as well. Gone a long way into the bail. Long hold. So it looks like it's 2 10s and a 9 from Ellison. Are we going to get a third 10 from Jensen to seal first place? Well, we don't. That's a clear 9 for me. And Chris, well, you tell me, are we all square still?
Yeah, 29 plays 29. It's into end number 3. Tanya Yankton obviously had a chance to win it with that last arrow, but you could see on her face as she let go. Front arm dropped really when she released, and that went out of the Big Ten as well, not just out of the little 10. But as long as it hits the yellow, it's a 9, so just 1 point dropped, and they'll go through to end number 3, all tied. 29 in end number 2.
Yeah, amazing stuff. That's not the first time we've seen an athlete with the opportunity to take the win. And so often when the opportunity is there for archers, they do take it. But in this particular format, it looks like it's just a little bit more pressure for them. So Yankton had a chance to take it with a 10 with her final arrow, dropped it into the 9s, and both archers remain in this women's shoot down. Replacing the targets. So, Chris, regular to replace targets after just 2 ends in archery?
Not usually. It's difficult. These bales are not as consistent as some targets we shoot at. They're used in Vegas and by the NFAA, made by Morel. Fantastically durable targets, but they're quite bumpy, shall we say. And you can see that the archers go behind and level them out a bit, and that's just to kind of make sure they fit against those bumps. Changing them makes it a bit tauter on the line, and it's important. It's important to score those arrows well as we go into end number 3.
Well, fresh targets, and it's Toya Ellison who will shoot first. Survived the second by dropping a 9 on her first arrow. Hits the 10 with her first arrow of the third. That is pretty close. I'm thinking that has just touched the line of the small 10, so will be counted as a 10. Another close one, but I think the same as Tanya Yankton's first one. That will just clip the line. Slightly quicker release that time. I don't think I can call that one, Chris.
Difficult to see from this angle. Very similar to the previous arrows we've seen that could be on the line, could be out. They are fat shafts they're shooting.
Another one that's difficult to call.
Let's give them all the benefit of the doubt, though.
Well, I'd say there are 3 arrows there between the 2 archers that are exceptionally close. I've provisionally got it down as a 28 for Tanya Yankton and a 29 for Toya Ellison. Your thoughts, Chris?
Could be a 29-29. The judges are going to take a really, really good look at these, I believe. There's 2 judges taking a look at each arrow, and only if there's a disagreement, I believe, will they bring in the third to make a decision. That bottom one from Tanya.
That's tricky. I think the only one that is confirmed for Tanya Yankton is the top one as a 10. And we're still unsure as to the left and right, bottom left and right targets. And the judges also not so sure. Tricky angle to see this one from. I think if either of them are in, it's likely to be that left one. As we to Toya Ellison's target. Well, we're all tied. And they were. You said it, Chris. Give them the benefit of the doubt. They're all tied at 30 apiece, so all of them were in.
So in World Archery, you shoot 9.3mm maximum shafts, and we're very used to seeing them, you and I, Karen, because we see them in competition all the time. The shafts allowed by the NFAA are a little bit thicker, up to 9.7mm, and it just gives that little bit extra line breaking ability. it does make them fly that little bit slower, and I think it's what gives that really satisfying smack when we hear them hit these targets. They've got a bit of weight and a bit of momentum behind them. I think it also makes them a bit more critical if you shoot a bad shot.
Yeah, well, it certainly does. Well, look, it was a nervy second and a nervy third. It's time to see whether we can separate Toya Ellison and Tanya Yankton in end number 4. Confidence there from Ellison in her action. You could see on her face she knew that one was good. That one potentially even better. A look of concern, but that looks like it's a solid 10 as well. Well, that's clear for all to see. A big opportunity here for Toya Ellison to take the women's shoot down here. She knows that she's got that, and there is proof. Another 30 from Ellison. It doesn't matter what Tanya Yankton does here. It was a 9 in her second arrow. She finishes off with another 10, tickling the spider. A 29 for Tanya Yankton, but it's not enough. Toya Ellison, well, subject to the judges confirming, but the big fist pump, I think, gave it away. Toya Ellison has taken the women's shoot down here at the Rushmore Rumble.
Yeah, she survived a couple of dodgy ends in the second and third, but no doubt in this one. Yankton shot that second arrow low. We've seen it in each of the ends so far. She just drops that front hand a bit more reactionary than some of her other shots, and it went really, really low. Ellison just took advantage. 3 excellent 10s. Fantastic performance from the new mum.
Yeah, fantastic stuff. Toya Ellison, new mum, in great shape after just 4 months from giving birth. And you can see the emotion there as well in her face.